Alright guys, hey, coming at you. I told you on Sundays I'm going to start coming with a little bit of my walk from the Lord and the things that I have been through, and just go through a few things. But hey guys, just touching back on what I was saying last week, the stuff that happened with my son. And I'm going to go back to the point of my boss, said he was going to fire me. And when God was talking to me, he let me know everything was going to be okay. And, me and my boss, Todd, we got a really, really good relationship these days. He was laughing the other day, his sister, she did the paperwork, the accountant or whatever, all the paperwork. And so she's retiring, so they had a retirement party for her last week. And I went there, and his girlfriend was there, and, he said, he said, my friend Rob here, he said, he come up. And he hadn't seen me for a couple of months. It might have been, like a month and a half I hadn't seen him. And he came and opened the shop door for me, and when I pulled in, when I got out the truck, I went up to him. And, I grabbed him, gave him a hug. He was like, hey, somebody might, hey, that manly thing, so we laughing about it. And I told him, I said, hey, that's what, black people do. We care about somebody, we show them love, man, it don't matter. So we had a good laugh at that. But I look at back then, and I did a lot of praying for Todd, and I'm telling you guys, prayer changes things. I love that song from Mahalia Jackson. Prayer changes things. And, it's in the Bible. Prayer changes things. But he was honestly going to fire me that day. So, I think deep down in his heart, because I was missing a lot of work, getting my son in and out of school, he'd get kicked out. I would have to get him checked back into school. My wife, my son, that ain't his biological mother, it's his mother. She raised him since he was 4. But at that time, 5 years, 4 years in, I didn't feel it was her responsibility and her lose her job. We was just boyfriend and girlfriend at the time, I didn't feel it was her responsibility to put her life in jeopardy for what our son or my son was doing, at the time. Even though she was helping raising him, it wasn't her responsibility, to put her livelihood and stuff on the line, because people break up, things happen, it wasn't her responsibility. So I was getting him in and out of school, and I understood what my boss was saying. His truck needs to be out there making money. It's, this whole life here on earth, everything's about the money. So I understood where he was coming from, but my son, I wasn't willing to lose him to the streets. So if my job would have came and played what it was during this time, it would have to been what it was, guys. So that day, I'm like, Lord, I've been up talking to you all night, what about my job? What about Todd? He said, follow me and everything will be okay. So, like I said, I got up that next morning. I called to the emergency room. The lady panicked. Oh, you got to come get him. He's kicking the outer. He doing things grown men ain't never did. He's kicking the inside plexiglass window so hard that he cracked the outside window. We never had anybody do that before. From what I know now, you know, the Bible speaks of the man ripping off the chains. You know, nobody could tame him till Jesus prayed for him. You know, so my son had extraterrestrial strength. I'm telling you, those demons didn't want to leave him. And when I got back, you know, it took me, 5-8 minutes, you know, getting dressed and getting up there, you know, because I'm panicked. You know, they want me to come get him. He was in this program for the school, and I'm like, wow. You know, and it was a children's part of the E-ward that they would put problem kids in that was having problems in school and try to train them and teach them how to act right in school. Then they actually, to me, it was just to get them put on the drugs. The Ritalin, the Adderall, you know, just dumb them down, calm them down. So I'm like, y'all got them up there, but you want me to come get them out of here. What am I supposed to do with them? You know, I don't know if I was actually thinking that then, but I'm thinking about it now. It ain't what I was thinking then. I just was going to get my son. I love him. You know, I love my son. I love all my kids, grandkids. I love children. You know, I just want to know, you know, to me, education is very important. So I'm always preaching. Any kid, even the kids on the block, you know, what are you doing in school? What are you doing? You know, the kids that are doing better, you know, we have juices, we have, you know, different things that we do, helping the kids out in the neighborhood. But anyway, I go up to get him, lady say, you can leave him. We don't know what happened. You know, you can leave him. He calmed down. So, you know, that day passed. You know, we get him home from school. Get him out of that program because he was coming home at night, going up there during the day to get ready to go back to school. But at first, they had him in there for like 2 weeks. They just had him in there, you know, 24 hours a day. And I hated it. I didn't know what to do. He wouldn't listen, you know. And yes, spirit aroused, spoiled a child. Yes, I wasn't beating and abusing my child, but if he did something bad enough, I would whoop him, you know. No shame. I told the counselor that. I told the police that. You know, I said, hey, I'm going to do what I have to do. Y'all do what y'all have to do, but I'm not going to lose my son to these streets. You know, and my son came back to me later on and was like, I feel cheated, you know, because I always participated in, you know, my nephews, nieces, they love me, you know, I taught them a lot. And he felt he was cheated because I didn't teach him the things of the streets like I did my nephews and nieces. All of my kids, by the time I started having kids, because I'm the youngest, I figured out that school is the best way. So I started trying to, you know, even some of my nephews that have went on to succeed, you know, I started preaching school to them, you know, and different things like that. Some of my nephews went back to school. You know, I got a nephew in Green Bay that's doing very well. You know, whether or not they give me credit, I know I had a lot to do with everything that was going on in their lives. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to get fired today. So I call, you know, get dispatched. They dispatch me to come to work the next day. And normally you don't meet Todd Raff till later in the evening once you get off work. I come in, Todd didn't say nothing. I didn't explain nothing at that time because I didn't know if they was going to fire me or not. So God put it on Todd's heart without me saying anything to Todd, leave my child alone. He's mine now. Todd didn't know what was going on, but God put in his heart not to fire me. They didn't know what was going on in my life, the changes that I had just gave my life to the Lord. I hadn't told anyone. Totally different atmosphere than the day before. So the next few days I told Tom, what happened. I gave my life to the Lord. Eventually Todd found out, but it never came up. From that day forward, some things happened. Me and Todd's relationship began to grow big time. I did a lot of praying for Todd and the Jung family, and my job and everybody around me in my life. So God was changing things. He'll do it, guys. A lot of times God sends people messages. You might almost get in a bad car accident. God's, sending you a message. Or let's say you got in a bad accident and you got really hurt. God is sending people messages. He always wants you to turn towards Him. Look towards Him. A lot of times before people pass, die, get killed, I guess these words you don't pose to use on YouTube, but before these types of things happen, before tragedy come in your life a lot of times, God send you warnings. It's up to you to pick it up. It's up to you to see what God is trying to tell you at that particular time. I remember my brother 43, my favorite brother. He was spitting out blood, I guess, for a few years. Didn't tell nobody. He wouldn't go to the doctor. He was a carpenter. He worked around asbestos. Like, all of this stuff I work around ain't good for you. But even on my job, the dust, I could clean off something in my truck, and by me going in and out of gravel pits, I could clean off, something in the truck, and a day or two later, it looked like it never been cleaned before. So if all of that stuff's inside the cab like that, the dust particles is getting in my lungs and stuff too. So I just don't worry about it. Pray that, hey, God got me. But when my brother, they gave him, once he got sick, and he found out he had cancer, they only gave him a few weeks to live. So I went up to see him, like, right before he passed. And they said he only had a couple of hours left. And I wasn't saved at the time. And it sticks with me. And me and my brother, we was cool. We laughed and joked, and he was just, he was my favorite brother. So, but he had me like by 6 years or something. But when I went in there to see him, I asked everybody to let me spend some time. My mother and other brother, I said, I need to talk to Lee. Well, I said I wasn't going to give names, but I need to talk to my brother. I need to talk to him by myself. So when they left out, they left me in there, and I'm like, Lee, they said you ain't got much time. I said, you need to give your life to the Lord. And I never will forget it. He, weak, he kind of raised up and said, why don't you give your life to the Lord? I never will forget it. I didn't laugh then, but it struck me like, wow, he's right. I'm out here doing what I'm doing, and just because I know he's about to pass, I'm telling him, you need to give your life to the Lord. But I could have fell dead right there telling them that. See, God was working on me, because like within, I want to say within I'm going to have to check, but within a year or so, maybe two, I ended up saved. So, but I just remember that, and he was so right. Like, why are you telling me, because you know I'm about to die, to give my life to the Lord, and you ain't gave your life to the Lord. So that just always stuck with me. But yeah, it's you know, and I've had so much tragedy in my family. You know, a lot of young people, a lot of nephews and nieces, uncles. You know, head blew off at in front of the bar. You know, he was one of the meanest guys in Racine, and you know. Everybody scared of him. The police was scared of him, you know. But I just had so much tragedy and that was back when I was 8, and I remember that. And it's just so much tragedy been in my family. But I always had a praying grandmother, you know. So it's just so many things, God. But you know, God send you messages sometime before the storm, you know. So you got to pay attention to these things, guys. And you know, I sit back and I talk to guys, and they say, well, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to go to church and know I'm still sinning, you know I'm still doing what I'm doing every day. I say, that's not being a hypocrite. He said, what do you mean? I'm like, being a hypocrite is going to church on Sunday, and you know the rest of the week you out here doing everything. Even after you leave church, you out here doing all the things. But when you get in church, you confess that you living for God and you not doing the things that you do. That's a hypocrite. You know, because I've had guys come around me, and you know, this is after I'm saved. You know, they get saved, and they come around me and they say they saved and they still cussing and stuff, you know. And I asked him, I said, why you cussing? I said, do you cuss in front of your pastor? No, I would never do that. I would never do that. I said, well, why are you cussing in front of God? I said, your pastor ain't got a heaven or hell to put you in. If you respect that man so much, God is so much greater than that man. So you out here in the streets cussing, but when you around that pastor, you willing to respect him and talk the way you know he wants you to talk around him. See, that's being a hypocrite. You know, people come around me that ain't saved. I don't try to correct them on whether they should cuss or not. You know, I don't like it on my channel. You know, I tell guys, either sometime I stop the interview and tell them, hey, I don't, you know, no cussing. You know, my grandkids watch this channel too, you know. So I'm not trying to teach them that type of stuff. But if me and you talking and you cussing, that you don't have to respect me. I don't deserve any respect. If you're not respecting God, you know, who am I to tell you that you gotta respect me? That's up to God to put it on your heart one day. Get it in your heart to change what you're doing. So don't think if you go to church, because there's still things right now that God is trying to deliver me from. I've always had a problem with not letting people mess with me, walk over me. Like, I avoid you. You know what I mean? You can say something crazy to me, I'll look over it. But if you keep messing with me, I've always had a problem. If I'm not doing anything wrong, don't mess with me. you know. So I'm asking, you know, I've been praying, and God is still 20 years later. I'm getting better at it, and every time I think I got it under control, something else happens, and then that old man come out. The good thing about it is that when that old man come out, and you know, whatever happened that day, you know, had to put you in check. You know, I don't curse and different stuff. I don't get that mad, but I put you in your place quick. I'm not good at turning the other cheek. See, the Bible say turn the other cheek. I'm not good at that. So 20 years later, I'm still trying to be delivered from that, guys. A lot of other aspects of my life, my walk with God, I'm good. But he took a lot from me from the beginning, guys. Drinking, flirting with women, everything. He took a lot away from me. Cussing, I stopped a lot. But it's certain things, it takes time. And God knew this. That's why he sent Jesus to the cross to die for our sins, that we could come to him and repent. It's not one person on this earth that is sin-free. Not one. If it was, Jesus wouldn't have had to die for us on the cross, guys. He wouldn't have had to die for us on the cross. If you could live this life, I don't care who you is. You could be a pastor, a bishop, in the church, whoever you are. It's not one that's sin-free. If you are, then you better than Jesus. Because as far as I know, in the Bible that I've read these days, I listen to on the truck daily, through my phone, it's only one that walked on this earth that didn't sin, and that's the Lord Jesus. And at times, even right before he went to the cross, he didn't want to die. He said, let this cup pass. Not my will, Lord, but your will be done. Jesus didn't want to die on that cross that day. He knew what he was supposed to do from the day he was born. He knew even before then, because he's God. God was in him. He knew he had to die, but that day that it came, that fleshly man in Jesus said, Lord, not my will, but your will. But he didn't want to die on the cross that day. He didn't want to endure all of that. And then if you think that if you go back to the beginning of the Bible, in the Garden of Eden, and the devil went to the man, to the woman, not the man, he went to the woman and said, if you eat of the tree, he didn't say what kind of fruit it was. He said, if you eat of the tree of good and evil, he said, you will not die. Like saying God's lying. You ain't gonna die. She ate, then she gave it to the first man, Adam, and he ate. He didn't die the way me and you see it as dying. Eve could have ate from that tree all day. God didn't give her that commandment. He gave it to Adam. And he was in there obeying God quite a while before he took that rib out and made woman. So he didn't give Eve that commandment. He gave it to Adam. And no, they didn't die the way we seen them die. But if you think about it, they knew they was naked. God could no longer come down and fellowship. They died because death is being separated from the Father. Death is being separated from the Father. So it's a lot of people out here walking around right now don't realize they dead. Oh, he didn't die. I've had people say that. He ate and he didn't die. Oh, he died. He was separated from God at that time. God could not commune with him the way he normally would. So death is being separated from God, guys. So hey guys, I'm going to just get on here on Sundays every once in a while, and I'm going to just speak on a few things, guys, and just let you know, find your church. And see something else too real quick before I get out of here. Just like anything in life, the more you're around something, either that something is going to pull you its way, or you're going to pull that something your way. And I'm talking about here as us, as people and human beings on this earth. You heard that saying, birds of a feather flock together? Well, the thing is that you go to church, whether you give your life to the Lord or not, the more you hear something, the more your mind condition and open up to what you're hearing, whether it's good or bad. So if you never go to church, just take that time, which I never did. I never went to church. But when he got hold to me, I knew who he was. I knew who was talking to me, and I just gave my life to him. But if you go, or if you don't, start talking to him daily. Get to know him. Let's get up in the morning. Thank you, Father, for waking me up in Jesus' holy name. Start off like that. But the more you're around something, the more you can gravitate towards that something. So if something going on in your life, something happening to a family member, a wife, a husband, a spouse, a kid, a grandkid, whatever, why don't you try praying first? God, heal them. Help them. Help me. Try to turn to the Lord. My dad used to say, oh, God don't hear sinner prayers. I don't believe that. I believe you talk to God at any time, he's going to hear you. He might not give you what you need or want, and that's whether you're saved or not. It's certain things I don't pray for. I don't pray for certain things. Like, I'm going to tell you, right now, I told you about my other, and it's not pride that I don't like people if I'm not treating you bad, I don't want to be treated bad. So it's hard for me to accept people messing with me. I've always been that way. Thank God I never had to do, nothing too bad. But with all of that, it's, so yeah, so my other thing, like I said, when it come to people messing with me and me not accepting that, and me letting that old man come back out, that's the issue I'm still trying to get delivered from. You know, he took a lot of things from me. I still have this thing for cars, you know, and at times, you know, that could be a sin too, guys. You know, I finally had to pray and ask God, because I'm buying cars, and had to pray to God and say, God, take that away from me. Take that away from me, you know. And I don't even know, like, I think me working on the cars give me more of a thrill of having one driving it, you know. It's kind of weird, but I enjoy doing this. And I have to make sure and that I'm not putting what I'm doing with these vehicles over God. That's why he had me come and he said, you're doing this channel and you're not bringing me up, you know, you know, and I got sick and he had to, you know, I'm laying there on my back and he just putting in my heart and my spirit, talking to me like, hey, you know, you got this little platform. I'm allowing you to do what you're doing, you know, because I don't pray, you know, God, you know, when I was telling Guy Dwayne, he like, oh, you know, I got to get the car, you know, I got to hurry up or park because, you know, something might happen, somebody else might buy it. I say, Dwayne, I say, the way I see it is God want me to have something when he know what I'm doing. If it don't turn out right, I know that wasn't meant for me. So I don't pray about none of this car stuff. Because if God don't want me to have it, he can take it away or not allow me to get it or put it in a situation that I can't have it. So I don't really pray for material things, I guess is what I'm saying. Because to me, they not that important to me one way or the other. You know, money is something I need to live. But I don't cherish money. I just don't. So I don't pray for certain things, but if you sick or I run up on a car accident, I'm in my truck praying, God, let everybody in that accident, let them be okay. You know, I'm on Facebook, I see somebody saying, hey, this happened, that happened, I'm sick, or what. I'm praying for you. So I don't pray for this stuff. I pray for life and things about life. See, this is like a hobby. This is non-important. But sickness, health, you know, things like that, things that people go through, those are the things that I pray for. And I'm going to tell you, anything happen in my life, first thing I'm doing is praying to God. I'm praying right away. So prayer changes things, guys. So I hope you have a blessed and wonderful day. I think every Sunday, 4:30, I'm going to be posting something. My walk with God and the things I go through and the things that I see. And I'm hoping you join me. And I just appreciate everybody with this channel. But none of it happens without God. I don't care. Nothing. I didn't get up this morning on my own free will. God woke me up this morning. He can bring you high, and he can bring you low. Everything happens because of God. Things happen in your life. Oh, the devil after me. Ain't got nothing to do with the devil. He got to go to God and ask God if he can do this. So everything that's happening in your life, God is testing you. Are you going to turn to him, or are you going to cry and complain? Because you turn to him, there's no need to cry and complain, because if you got faith, you know he's got you. He's going to cover you with all things in every aspect of your life. So hey guys, like, share, subscribe guys. I hope you enjoy these segments on Sunday, but you know, no more posting, no kind of videos, but something to do with God on Sundays. And it's going to have its own playlist. So if you need a word, go to that playlist. I haven't made it up yet, but it's coming. God ain't gave me what to name it just yet. So I haven't made a playlist just yet, but it's coming, guys. All right, have a good day. God bless. Have a good Sunday and a good rest of your week. All right, till next week. God bless. Thanks.